In 2013, in what was meant to be one of the most exciting moments of my life, soon turned into one of the most embarrassing situations and darkest days of my professional career, all while live on Sky Sports. During my professional debut in T20 cricket, when I thought I would be taking wickets and executing my skills to perfection, soon turned into me being dismantled by the opposition and not being called upon again once in that match, leaving me with a sense of embarrassment, guilt, shame. And none of that was down to the fact that I didn't know what I was doing or that I didn't have the skills. It came down to one thing: performance anxiety. Those nerves stopped me from making clear decisions, having control and feeling capable and confident in my performance, and ultimately onto something that I didn't want to happen. So if you've clicked this video, then there's a high chance that you've experienced something like this as well. Hopefully to not that degree. So how good would it be if you didn't have to feel like this and you could face your next performance with unparalleled confidence and self-belief like never before? If this sounds like something you'd want, then hang around and I'll show you 5 methods that you can use to beat your crippling performance anxiety that's stopping you from performing at your best. Just a quick note to say that if you do get value from this video, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Also hit the bell so you get notified when new videos pop up. So while many of us may face anxiety and find it both mentally and physically taxing, here's a startling fact: we actually need anxiety to perform. The Oakes-Dodson law states that performance increases with physiological and mental arousal until a point, and that at a point there is an optimum state of arousal. This is where we're engaged and performing at our best. And these levels are completely different for everyone. Some people need quite a lot of anxiety to get them going. Some people don't need much at all, and that can really tip them over the edge. It's just worth knowing where you sit on that scale. So while you may have come into this video thinking anxiety is something you want to get rid of, ultimately we can't and we don't want to. But we want to use tools that help us build a better relationship with that anxiety. And with these 5 methods, you'll turn that unwanted visitor into a much more trusted friend. First up, and number 1, is accepting your feelings and emotions. Let's take Erling Haaland. In multiple interviews, he has been open and honest about the fact that he feels nervous in performances. And what he's doing here is a superpower by accepting that he has these emotions. He's labeling them and making them real. Whether it's in a big game or a match-winning penalty, he's accepting he's going to be nervous. And he's not alone. Many top athletes use this same process, where they label their emotions so that they can make them real and understand them better. When we understand our emotions and feelings, we can actually do something about them. We can learn from them and know what to do when they arise in the moment. The advice I had before my debut was that I should accept my nerves. Now, while that was great advice, the trouble I had was that I hadn't spent time practicing it and didn't really know what it meant. So therefore I felt the nerves and I wasn't willing to accept them, so I tried to push them away, and that just made me more and more nervous. Top athletes learn to build better relationships with anxiety. They learn to strip it of its power by making it real and accepting that it will turn up. So the first step to understanding and beating your anxiety is learning to accept it. Up next, number 2, understanding your controllables. Anxiety is quite literally us trying to control something we can't control, but we want to control it. And there's so much in sport that we can't control, from the weather, bad decisions, circumstances, opposition, even what other people's opinions are. And so in order to reduce this sense of lack of control, we want to focus on what is in our control. And what ultimately is in our control is our emotions, our moods, our actions, our mindset. Where we focus our attention and our energy is what is in our control. And so a simple exercise you can do as an athlete is create 2 simple lists: your controllables and uncontrollables. Keep it simple. Just simply in performance, you want to focus on what is in your control and what is not in your control. And to start off writing your 2 lists, start with your uncontrollables, everything that is not in your control. This is results, outcomes, opposition, the environment, decisions. Everything that is not in your control, write it down on a page. And then step 2, focus on everything that is in your control. So it is your energy, your mood, your actions, your thoughts, your behaviors. Write down everything that is in your control from a physical, mental, and emotional point of view for you as an athlete. The point of this exercise is to make real what is in your control and what is not. When you notice something turning up that is on your uncontrollable list, remind yourself to go back to everything that is on your controllable list. This exercise could be the game changer for you in trying to beat your anxiety. Go ahead and do this exercise and add it into your journal. Hell, keep that journal in your bag so that when you're going into training or in a performance, you can remind yourself of what is in your control. And when we have more in our control, we reduce that level of anxiety. Up next is breathing exercises. Think of footballing icon Cristiano Ronaldo about to take a free kick. Do you notice anything just before he's about to take that kick? I do, and that is the big breath that he takes just before he's about to start. Or maybe you could think of Owen Farrell, England's leading point scorer. Just before he's about to start his process, he takes a deep breath. These two athletes are tuning into one of the most powerful controllables in your life, which is your breath. We do have control over our breathing. And as well as these two high performers, you'll notice many performers taking a deep breath before they start their performance. What's happening here is athletes are tuning into one of our most inbuilt relaxation mechanisms. Not only that, it's one of our biggest controllables in our life. First off, being able to take a deep breath helps trigger our parasympathetic tone in our nervous system. This helps us relax. Chances are that if we're feeling anxiety, we're in a more sympathetic nervous tone, which is where we're in a fight, flight, or freeze mode. And what we want to try and do is move back down that curve in the Yerkes-Dodson law to hopefully a more optimal position. And we can do that using our breathing. Just taking a simple breath helps trigger this parasympathetic tone and bring more relaxation to the body and the mind. But more importantly, it is something that is in our control. Simply having something in control like our breathing, rather than having that physiological state of feeling out of control, can help reduce our anxiety, both physically and mentally. So if you want to harness your anxiety, start to learn how you can harness your breathing and taking that deep breath in your performance to help reduce those levels. Up next is number 4, visualization. You'll often see athletes turning up to events, competitions, maybe hours, maybe even days before it's actually about to happen. You might see them walking around the boxing ring. You might even see them wandering onto the pitch. And what they're simply doing there is placing themselves in the environment before it's even happened. They're visualizing. They're seeing things happening before they've actually occurred. This powerful tool is one that I have used personally and recommend over and over again. Being able to visualize a performance both positively and yes, negatively, yes, we can visualize negative outcomes, helps us plan what we want to do and achieve and think when we're in the moment. Negative visualization is a powerful tool because we often feel anxiety about the negative outcomes in an event. But if we can visualize those negative outcomes happening before they've even happened, then we can begin to plan how we would act, what we would think, or maybe even say in the moment to help us towards a better, more optimum performance. So whether it's acquiring a skill, maybe visualizing a specific moment, or an entire performance altogether, there's a few things you want to consider when it comes to your visualization. What perspective are you doing it from? Are you doing it from a first-person view or maybe even third person? Are you visualizing something positive or negative? Are you clear on the actions that you want to take during the moment? And what sort of emotions are you connecting with when you're having this visualization? All of these questions are something for you to consider when you're doing your visualization. But doing it just before a game, days before a game, hours before a game, doesn't matter as long as you know the routine that you want to go through for that practice. For me, I would use visualization the day before to think about the entire occasion as a whole. I would think about how it would make me feel, and then I would see myself going through my processes, turning up to the ground, how everything would look. And lastly, one of the final parts of beating your performance anxiety is number 5, developing a pre-performance routine. A pre-performance routine is a set of task-relevant thoughts and actions an athlete systematically engages in prior to performance execution. Again, think back to Owen Farrell. Just moments before he's about to kick a conversion in rugby, you can see that he is going through a set of processes of thoughts and actions that help him execute his skill to the best of his ability. This process is fully in his control. It's everything that he can take back to practice, work on in the training ground, and then place back into competition and just focus only on that when he's trying to perform under extreme pressure. Studies have shown that pre-performance routines can reduce the chances of choking under pressure. It's because the main mechanism is the fact that you are focusing on a guide, a structure towards executing your skill. As an athlete, you're going to need to do this in practice. You're going to need to repeat it over and over again to help build your confidence in knowing that when you perform these tasks and you follow these steps, that you will get positive outcomes. And when you've had that success in training, you know that you can take it into a competition. Having a routine to follow ultimately brings many things back into our control. And as we know with anxiety, the more we have in control, the less anxiety we feel, and the more confident a performance can shine through. So there you have it. There's 5 methods that will help you with your performance anxiety. And as for me in my T20 debut, it wasn't the end. It was the start of a journey of me adopting methods like this to move to better performances and reducing my anxiety. I was able to learn from that experience. So even if you are afraid of it happening, and maybe it has happened to you, don't worry, you'll get through it. And I promise you that there'll be better performances on the other end of it. And so if you as an athlete want to take your performance to another level, then head over to this video right now.